Program Director, Minister, distinguished delegates and fellow participants, permit me to stand on existing protocols and go straight into my statement of support from the United Nations family here in South Africa. 30 years ago, South Africa embarked on a historic journey towards constitutional democracy and human rights. An inspiring journey characterized by resilience, transformation, and the unwavering pursuit of justice that will forever shape the nation and inspire the world. From the dark days of apartheid to the birth of a democratic dispensation, South Africa has undergone a profound transformation that has witnessed, amongst other things, the adoption of a vibrant constitution hailed as one of the most progressive in the world. South Africa will hold its 7th national and provincial elections in May this year, a testament to 30 years of vibrant democratic practice and rights for all. The rights of women, children, persons with disabilities, and migrants are inscribed in law. Discrimination has been prohibited on several grounds, and the indivisibility of social, economic, and cultural rights alongside civil and political rights are strongly upheld. Yet, even as we celebrate these achievements, we are mindful of the challenges that lie ahead. We must therefore confront the persistent legacies of inequalities, poverty, and injustice that continue to afflict the society and hinder the transformation that leaves no one behind. The country is ranked the most unequal in the world. Unemployment remains high, with young people bearing the brunt. Rape, sexual assault, and femicide remains a scourge. Severe flooding due to changing climate patterns claimed hundreds of lives in parts of the country and forced thousands to leave their homes. These persistent and new challenges require a recommitment to human rights for all who live in South Africa. This week, as we commemorate Anti-Racism Day, we also celebrate 21 March, Human Rights Day in South Africa. A reminder that when the General Assembly declared this day as the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, they did so remembering Sharpeville. That on this day, 21 March 1960, 69 peaceful protesters were killed when they gathered to protest the then apartheid laws. With this proclamation in 1966, the General Assembly called on the international community to redouble its efforts to eliminate all forms of racial discrimination. Just as states turned 75 years ago to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to guide them out of conflict and despair, today, with less than 7 years to the deadline for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, our collective, transformative, and accelerated actions leading up to 2030 must be grounded on human rights. As South Africa continues its transformational journey through the implementation of human rights to catalyze a better life for all, the country will inevitably also make progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, which are, by the way, aligned fully with the National Development Plan of South Africa. The UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, recently stated to the Human Rights Council in February that human rights are the bedrock of peace. Today, both are under attack. Conflicts are taking a terrible toll as parties to war trample on human rights and humanitarian law. At the local level and online, many communities are riven with violent rhetoric, discrimination, and hate speech. Add to that an information war, a war on the poor, and a war on nature. All these battles have one thing in common. They are a war on fundamental human rights. Fellow participants, indeed, Agenda 2030 is firmly rooted in human rights, and human rights are key accelerators for the attainment of more powerful, sustainable development outcomes that are inclusive and leave no one behind. Government, civil society, and the private sector must put human rights at the center of all efforts to solve persistent challenges. We must chart a way towards a human rights-based economy that reduces inequality. Service delivery must be equitably and inclusively provided, reaching those furthest behind first. We need to invest in the prevention of sexual and gender-based violence and ensure justice for victims and survivors. Young people must be at the decision-making table, bringing their insights and innovation to solve critical challenges. I join again the UN Secretary General who urged the Human Rights Councils to say, around the world, governments must step up and commit to working for peace and security rooted in human rights. The upcoming Summit of the Future in September this year, convened at the behest of the Secretary General, is our opportunity for such a recommitment. The new agenda for peace to be discussed at the summit applies a human rights lens to preventing and ending violence in all its forms. Building on our call to action for human rights, it urges an end to reflexive responses to violence, underscoring the need for strategic, comprehensive approaches that address root causes. I thank you once more for the opportunity to join you and to provide this statement, and look forward as the UN family in South Africa and beyond to accompanying the government and people of South Africa to realize the aspirations embedded in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. I thank you again.